Today's video is another declutter. I'm going to go through all of my highlighters. I just got done decluttering my bronzers. If you want to check out that video and see which ones made the cut, which ones I ended up removing from my collection, I'll link it in the description box below. I haven't purchased a ton of new bronzers or highlighters in 2024, and it's been like a year and a half since I did a declutter of these specific sections of my makeup collection. Even though it's been that long, I don't think they have grown that much. But even still, I like to go through and just kind of curate it every year and make sure that I have products in here I love, that I cannot wait to wear. And if there are formulas or shades I no longer love, I take them out, give them to friends and family. If they are slightly used, I can donate them to an organization like Project Beauty Share. But I only pass new and unused products along to subscribers or some of the places in my town that accept donations. They only take new products. If you like declutter videos, I have quite a few of them. I'll link them in the description box below. Okay, so the reason why I feel like I just haven't had much interest in trying a ton of new highlighter formulas is because last year I finally tried the Rare Beauty highlighters. And without a doubt, this is my absolute favorite formula of all time. It just looks so good on the skin. I started with one. The original highlighter I bought is this one right here. I think. Yeah, Exhilarate. Okay, here's the thing about the Rare Beauty highlighters, which if you've tried them, you probably know this. They break so easily. So only one of my Rare Beauty highlighters is fully, like completely whole. The rest of them have completely shattered. I have enough in here that I feel like I can use this for a long time because this is the type of formula, like a little bit goes an extremely long way. It's a pretty rich, intense formula, but you don't have to layer a lot of the product up to get there. But I use these for highlighter, for inner corner highlighter, for eyeshadow. Like it's such a beautiful, lightweight, smooth, silky formula. It's my absolute favorite. If someone was like, you have to get rid of every single highlighter except one formula, this is the formula I would keep without a doubt. So I'll show you the shades I have and then I'll swatch them for you. This one is Flaunt. This is the one that is still whole. It's the newest one that I purchased, which is why I feel like it hasn't had the chance to fully break on me yet. This one is Mesmerize, which I'm not sure when this video is going up, but I'm planning on repurchasing this during the Sephora VIB sale because that is my favorite. That's like the pink toned one. And that one's like basically gone. And then this one is Enlighten, which there's like the tiniest amount left. This looks so ridiculous. But like I'm hanging on to this because I mainly use this as an inner corner highlight. So I just use like the tiniest amount. There's not even enough highlighter left in Mesmerize to even swatch it. Like that is completely gone. So it is time to say goodbye to that one. I am going to repurchase it very, very soon because that is my favorite highlighter. So this one is Enlighten, this one is Exhilarate, and this one is Flaunt. Again, there wasn't much of this, so I feel like if you were to actually have like a brand new highlighter, it would show up a little bit more intensely, but they're so gorgeous. Honestly, I feel like I want to purchase all of them because I do wear them as eyeshadow quite a bit. They're just so lightweight, so gorgeous. Really, really flattering on the skin, on the eyes. Honestly, like moving forward, I'm just not going to travel with them. They have to stay at home in my makeup collection. And every time I pick them up, I just have to be careful because they are so ridiculously fragile. This one from Catrice is really, really gorgeous, but the tone is not my favorite these days. I think this product is still available. They do have a pink one as well, and the pink one is so pretty. The gold one is called Beyond Golden Glow. It's so gorgeous on the skin. I feel like it just leans a little bit too yellowy on my skin, and even though the formula is amazing, I do recommend trying it if you do love like a very vibrant highlighter. I just find that I don't reach for that gold as much as I do the two gold highlighters I have from Rare Beauty. So it is time to declutter this one. Nothing wrong with the formula at all. I think it's really good. I just don't wear it as much. Actually, let's kind of go by shade. I think I can declutter the Amrezy highlighter from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This was one of my all-time favorites, and I know some of you are going to be like, don't get rid of it because it is truly like such a loved highlighter, and I don't think they actually ever ended up bringing it back. It is a very, very beautiful shade, but again, I just haven't used mine since discovering the Rare Beauty ones. Mine's pretty old. I wouldn't say it's expired. It's pretty close to that Catrice highlighter, honestly. If you're looking for like an alternative, it's slightly lighter. And if I were to wear it, I would probably still love the way it looks on the skin, but I don't reach for it because I feel like the Rare Beauty ones, they are my go-to. So that one's close to the Rare Beauty shade in Exhilarate, so I think I can declutter that one. What other gold highlighter do I have in here? This one from LIS Beauty. This is the Aim High Pressed Highlighter Powder in Brave. And this is probably like the most metallic, most intense powder highlighter I have. Let me swatch this one for you. If you love like a super intense highlighter, this is probably the formula to try. Again, this is maybe a little bit more golden on my skin, a little bit more yellow gold than I would typically go for these days. That's what it looks like. Really, really pretty. Again, I think I'm going to declutter it. It works perfectly fine and I'm not throwing it away. Don't get me wrong, I'm just going to pass it along to someone else, but I haven't reached for that highlighter probably at all in the past year. So that is definitely a sign it is time for it to go. I still like gold highlighter, but I just don't love like that yellow gold on my skin. I feel like it's not as flattering as something that leans kind of more almost like champagne. Speaking of, where is it? This one, the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I'm going to keep this one. I think my preferences have changed a lot when it comes to highlighter. I mean, the Rare Beauty ones are very intense, but if I'm not wearing those, I'm usually reaching for something pretty subtle overall, or a cream or a liquid. So I love this one from Essence. I have gone so back and forth over the years on this. Like I've had it in my collection multiple times, and sometimes I've decluttered it, sometimes I've kept it. But over the last few years, I've definitely learned to appreciate a very subtle highlighter. I don't even really wear highlighter every single day because I do love like glowy blushes and glowy bronzers, but look how pretty that is. It is so flattering on the skin. If you have a lot of texture, if you don't like something quite as metallic as like the last three I shared with you, this one is very flattering. They used to have multiple shades. Some of you guys have told me they do, and some of you have said you wish they would bring those back. So I don't know, if you have seen the additional shades, let us know where. It might not be here in the US because I know Essence is sold all over the world. Oh wait, I'm on Ulta's website. So they have the Pure Nude Highlighter, which is what I just showed you. And then they do have the Pure Nude Sunlighter. So they do have a deeper version of it. I think they used to have even more, honestly, but they do have a darker one if that's what you're looking for. Because I'm keeping that one from Essence though, I think I'm going to declutter this one. Again, it's one of those highlighters that over the years, like sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. I've only used this one a couple of times. I think I got it in the mail as PR because I had decluttered it in the past, and because of my highlighter preferences these days, I thought I might like it. It's the Balm's Mary Luminizer. I don't love this one on my skin. It's not the tone, like the actual color is really pretty. There's just something about this formula. It feels nice, but on my skin, it looks kind of dry, which is weird because even when you swatch it, like it has this very creamy feel to it. It looks really flattering when I kind of move my hand around in the light, but every single time I wear it on my cheeks, I personally don't love it on me. So that is something that I can pass along. I also haven't worn this one very much. It's the Milani Baked Highlighter in the shade Champagne d'Oro. This one's actually different because I feel like when I swatch it, I'm like, oh, I don't love the texture of that one. Like it feels kind of dry. But when I apply it to my skin, it looks really pretty. But in the back of my mind, for some reason, I'm always like, no, I'm not gonna love that one on me today. So it just doesn't get used very often. It looks a little bit more golden on the skin than it does in the pan. And again, I think that's partly why it throws me off because in the pan, I don't love the color as much. It's really, really pretty. I don't know, as I'm swatching it, I'm like, I should hang on to that one. But I know for a fact, like I really haven't worn that one very much over the last year. So to me, that's always a signal, like it's time to be done with it. This is the Becca highlighter in the shade Opal. I do have Champagne Pop as well. I just remembered. My old Champagne Pop, like finally it was done. It was like mostly used up. It was kind of getting like old. The formula wasn't the same. And I did repurchase it at one point. I don't know when. I don't know if it was like on sale or something. So I actually had a backup of that. So I need to pull that one back out. I am going to keep that. Obviously, it's new. I feel like, I don't know, I can never part with Champagne Pop or Opal. They remind me of like the old school YouTube days. I'm not even nostalgic when it comes to makeup, but I just feel like this is still such a good formula. Like, look how pretty that is. It looks smooth on the skin. It gives you the perfect glow. It's funny because back in the day, I thought these Becca highlighters were like the most intense highlighters, but I feel like there are more these days that are even more intense than these. So I'm going to keep Opal. I also have like I said, Champagne Pop somewhere. This is a cream, so I'm going to move that over. I have two highlighters from Beauty Pie. There's one I'm going to keep and one I'm going to declutter. So I'm going to declutter this one. It's the Triple Beauty Perfect Glowy Powder in the shade Glowio. This is a really pretty color if you like some, I don't even know if they still sell this, to be honest, because it is an older product. But if they do, it's a nice option if you like something that's on the lighter side. It's probably the lightest highlighter I have. Like, it definitely has like a true pearly base to it, but it's not like that white, almost like frosty looking highlighter. It's really, really pretty, but I haven't used that one as much as this one, and I just feel like I don't need to keep both. This one is the Pro Glow highlighter in the shade Knockout Gold. I think this was a holiday launch a few years ago, so I'm assuming they don't still have this available on the website. This is gorgeous. This feels like a luxurious high-end highlighter. I feel like the tones end up looking pretty close on the skin, but this highlighter is a little bit nicer in my opinion. Like, it's extra smooth, really, really flattering. So I'm going to keep that one. This one is from Nabla. I've had this for a couple years. It's a good highlighter. It's their Skin Glazing Glass Skin Finish Glow Powder in the shade Privilege. So in the pan, it looks gold, but it almost has like a touch of pink to it when you apply it to the skin. Here's what it looks like swatched. It's actually really unique compared to anything else I have in my collection. So I am going to keep that one too. I feel like a gold highlighter with a touch of pink is like my new favorite. Probably not new favorite, but it's something I've really loved this year because this one is kind of like that too. This is from the Give by Gwen Stefani line. It's the Check My Glow Multi-Dimensional Illuminating Powder in the shade Platinum Cowgirl. So I've tried a couple of products from this brand. Overall, it hasn't been my most favorite brand, but this is definitely my favorite product from the brand. Again, I don't really have anything quite like this in my collection, and because this is the type of highlighter or the type of product that has like a couple of different shades, you can kind of customize it. So if you want something like slightly pinkier, you can, dip your brush more so into the pink or gold or even like that light pearly shade. But when you mix all of the shades together, this is the color that you get right here. So again, definitely on the lighter side. I don't usually love products that have like shades kind of swirled together, but this formula is pretty because it is a little bit more on the natural side. So on days where I don't want like that super over the top intense highlighter, I'll reach for that. Okay, last powder highlighter before I move on to creams and liquids. This is from Essence. This collection was only around for like a minute. They did this apricot collection, which was super cute, but the highlighter sold out so fast and then they never restocked it. And I think it's because they had issues with shipping. Like, pretty much every one of you I talked to who bought this said that your highlighter arrived completely crushed, as mine did. So I tried to put it back together, and for a little while I thought it actually worked really well, but then I don't know, now it kind of feels super dry when I wear it. When I originally pressed it back together, it was like very smooth. Now when I wear it, like, it looks good when I kind of do that, but directly on the skin, it kind of looks heavy. So I will usually only wear it if I'm like filming videos and I'm on camera, because truthfully, sometimes products look better on camera than they look in real life. And I always try to kind of differentiate if I'm sharing that with you. But if I'm wearing that in real life, like, sometimes it just looks a little heavy on my skin. So I think I'm going to declutter that one. I want them just to do like a pink version of the Pure Nude highlighter because this is so good. They came out with so many Pure Nude baked blushes, but they only have the 2 highlighters. Okay, let me see if I can declutter these enough just to fit the rest of the highlighters right here. That would actually be really nice. So this is from Rare Beauty. It is their Liquid Luminizer in the shade Enchant. This is so much prettier than I thought it was going to be. I kind of held off on these for a little while because in general, I'm not like a big liquid highlighter fan. I feel like I've gotten into them a little bit more, but this is perfect. It looks great on its own, but it's also so nice to mix in with the Rare Beauty liquid blushes if you want to add like a nice glowy, just like a little bit of a glowiness to them. I just applied a very small amount there, so it looks a little bit more natural, but because it is so silky, like, it almost has a little bit of an oily feel to it. I think it almost improves the Rare Beauty blushes when you mix it in with them because those are just so pigmented. So I don't know, it's really, really flattering. I do wear this on its own sometimes too. I'll just kind of like dot it on or use a brush and that looks great. But for the most part, I'll mix that in. I have a few other liquid highlighters. These are from Flower Beauty, the Spotlight liquid highlighter. So on the left is the shade Gleam and then on the right is the shade Opal. I love these. They're so beautiful. I think this was actually one of the first liquid highlighter formulas I tried that kind of got me into wearing them. Okay, so this one is Opal, this one is Gleam. They're just so gorgeous, very smooth, very, very beautiful. I think they look great whether you are mixing them in with products or layering them on top of your makeup. They're actually like a really good final step too. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Beauty Light Wand in the shade Spotlight. I actually haven't worn this in a really long time. I think when I tried the Flower Beauty formula, I was like, oh, the Flower Beauty formula is pretty much a spot on dupe. But in my opinion, it's even better than the Charlotte Tilbury formula, so I just kind of stuck with that. So I think I'll actually declutter this one because this is a case where I actually like the dupe a little bit better. I have a Milani liquid highlighter. This one's in the shade Lunar. They do have other shades. I think they're all darker than this one. I keep this one on hand because sometimes I like reference the product or talk about it, but I don't love this shade on me. Like it's a little bit too yellowy. As you can see, I have a thing against yellowy gold highlighters these days. So I just don't end up wearing this one very much. So really, really high quality, but I think I'm going to declutter it just because I don't reach for it. This one is from Essence. It is the liquid highlighter in the shade Breezy Bronze. I think I actually do have all of these. I'm pretty sure I bought one and then I think they sent me a few in the mail as PR, but they're not all in here. I'm working on an Essence TikTok video, so they're probably in another room or something. But here's the bronze shade, really pretty. I love this formula, so I applied a little bit too much, but the reason why I like this Essence formula is because it looks a little bit more natural on the skin. Same thing with the blushes. Like a lot of these liquid highlighters are so over the top, so intense. And I mean, this is not a good example of it because it still looks pretty over the top. But if you apply a very small amount, I feel like it gives you more of a subtle glow, which is nice. And because it is a very lightweight, very silky formula, I feel like it just layers really nicely on top of other products. Okay, this is the Flower Beauty Day Glow Highlighting Glaze, a really interesting product. I haven't worn this in a little while. Okay, mine's still good, which is nice. I mean, I've had this for a while and it has not dried out at all. I don't know. I'm like torn on this one. I think I was kind of a fan of this before I was really getting into liquid highlighters. It gives your skin a really pretty glow, but it's different than your typical cream highlighter. Like it almost has not like a sticky feel to it, but almost. It's like a little bit of a thicker balm. So it looks very natural on the skin. Like there's not a lot of color to it. It's just interesting. So I think I'm going to keep this one. I do like the way it looks. It's a little bit more unique compared to other cream highlighters I have in my collection. I am going to declutter this Milk Makeup highlighter. This one is in the shade Lit. If you watched my bronzer declutter, I actually kept the Milk Makeup bronzer because it was so small. And I said it was just really great for traveling. I guess the same could apply to the highlighter, but highlighters as a whole, like liquid highlighters, even cream sticks are not as big as cream bronzers. So it's a good formula. It's just not my personal favorite. I don't use it a ton. So I think I can pass that one along. Definitely keeping the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Glow Stick. I don't know if this is still around. They re-released it this summer. And if you can still get your hands on it, I think it might have sold out. But if not, I'll link it below. It is so gorgeous. I talked about it a little bit when they first relaunched it this summer. It's just kind of the same case with the Flower Beauty Day Glow. Like it doesn't have a ton of color to it, but it gives your skin the most beautiful glow. Like it's transparent with like a pearly finish. It's just really unique compared to anything else I have. The formula it reminds me the most of is the Merit Beauty Day Glow Highlighting Balm, which these are more expensive. So I have Citrine and then I also have Cava. So I'll swatch these for you. So in the middle right here is Citrine and then this one is Cava. You can see how they're basically like translucent, but they just have like a hint of colors. So Citrine is like a little bit more yellow gold and then Cava is slightly pearlier. I think they have like a pink one too that I've thought about trying, but I feel like in the end, they all kind of look somewhat similar. Like looking at these swatches, you don't see a big difference in terms of shade. The Merit formula is a little bit more natural than the e.l.f. Jelly Pop, but I did layer a lot of that e.l.f. Jelly Pop on there. But anyway, if you can't get your hands on the e.l.f., the Merit is a really great option. Obviously, it's a high-end alternative, but if this is still available, definitely recommend that one. These are liquid illuminators. I pretty much use them both as primers, which I feel like I should just move them to my primer drawer. Like I would consider this to be the same category as the e.l.f. Halo Glow or something like that. This one is from Typology. It's technically like a vitamin C serum that has like a glowy feel to it or a glowy look to it. So, I mean, it's good for your skin. It has some great ingredients too. So you could use this on its own, or you could mix it. Sometimes I'll use it as a primer, and then sometimes I'll actually mix it in with my Typology serum or another skin tint, but usually my Typology serum, which I don't know why this is even in my highlighter drawer because I don't usually use it as a liquid highlighter, even though you can. And then I have this one from Westman Atelier. It's their their liquid super loaded, what is it called? Liquid super loaded? That doesn't sound right. I think it's maybe like their super loaded drops or something like this. This is so gorgeous. This is actually the first product, I got too much, that I tried from Westman Atelier. And wow, it is a luxury brand, so their products are a little bit more expensive, but this feels like luxury quality. So I actually went with like the peach toned one, and that's again a lot of product, but it gives your skin the most beautiful, just like smooth, even finish. It actually works great as a primer because it is so smooth and glowy, and it just like when you apply products on top of this, you can just feel how gorgeous this product is. So you can wear both of these on their own. They're definitely different formulas. The Typology one like dries down and it like sinks into the skin. And then this one kind of stays like smooth and silky. And it comes in a couple of different shades, but I love this one. Okay, finishing up, I have a few Super Shock, not shadows, Super Shock highlighters from ColourPop. So, okay, I wore this one a lot when I got it. It was part of the Tinkerbell collection in the shade Happy Thoughts. It's really pretty. The Tinkerbell collection was so cute. I love the palette from that line. But these days, I don't know, like I went to wear it as a highlighter the other day and I was like, that shade is just too dark for me. So I don't know if it was always too dark for me. I'll swatch them in the end for you, but it doesn't look great. I also wore this one not too long ago because I was trying to work my way through everything before I filmed this declutter. This one is in Flute Punch. And again, I kind of felt like it was just a little bit too dark. This one is Lunch Money. This one's a little bit older, but it still works great. It hasn't expired, so I don't want to get rid of that one. And then Wisp, same thing with this one. I've had these for a couple of years. It's weird because some people say like, oh, I can't get this open. Some people say my Super Shock products dry out way too fast, like they're not worth the money, but mine really don't. This one is Wisp. I've had some of my eyeshadows dry out, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I just feel like they don't dry out that fast in general on me. So these are the two I'm decluttering. Happy Thoughts on the left and then Flute Punch on the right. Really pretty. And again, the formula is just as creamy as it was when I originally got them, but I just feel like they don't look great on my skin tone these days. This one is Lunch Money, and then this one is Wisp, which I don't know, like now I'm like, is Wisp too dark for my skin too? I don't know the last time I wore that one, to be honest, but I think I'm going to hang on to Lunch Money and Wisp. Are they still making the Super Shock highlighters? I've been meaning to repurchase the Super Shock bronzer for a little while. I still have a couple of Super Shock blushes I love. I wouldn't be opposed to trying more. I just, truthfully, like I try not to buy too many cheek products because I have more than enough, and that could be said about all parts of my makeup collection. But I know for a fact, like when it comes to bronzer and highlighter, I definitely have like formulas I tend to gravitate toward and wear the most that I just try not to overdo it in those categories. Okay, I don't feel like they fit comfortably in one section. I feel like I still kind of want to keep my creams over here. Oh wait, I have a couple of highlighter palettes back here that I forgot about. Okay, so this one is, I love this one. It's from Pretty Smart, which this line is available at Walmart. I always forget if it was I think it was the creators of the Balm actually created the brand Pretty Smart. So it's supposed to be like high-end quality at a drugstore price. And I think everything in the line is under $10. Anyway, I do like a lot of the products, but I love this palette. So you get 2 highlighters and then you get a shade that you could use as a blush or a highlighter. The quality is really good. These are really flattering. It's like I can tell they were either like influenced by the Balm's formula because they're the creators, or that it's actually a very, very similar formula because it just feels like the Balm powders. I used to love the Balm so much. These are really bad swatches. And it's been a little while since I've had a lot of their products. I mean, I have that Mary Luminizer highlighter I decluttered, but these don't look as great swatched as they do on the skin. On the skin, they're very flattering, and I like them because they're not as intense as a lot of other highlighters in my collection. So when I do want something a little bit more subtle, I reach for that palette. This is from Cover FX. It's their custom enhancer palette. So this is really pretty. I was mainly using this as eyeshadow rather than highlighter. Like I want to keep it and move it to my eyeshadow drawer, but I'm like, do I really need to? Because I have a lot of eyeshadow. The formula, it reminds me of a high-end shadow that I can't think of. Like it has that foiled smooth finish. So like look how good these look on the hand, but they don't look like highlighters when you swatch them like that. They look like eyeshadow, which is why I think I like them so much as eyeshadow because they're very rich. Like they're a little bit thicker. They don't, when I wear highlighter, I usually like something a little bit softer these days. So I don't know. I feel like I should just move it to my eyeshadow drawer, but I also feel like I have so much eyeshadow. So do I really need to use this as an eyeshadow palette? I might see if one of my sisters or my mom wants that as a highlighter palette. And if not, then maybe I'll keep it as eyeshadow. Definitely keeping this Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe highlighter palette. This one's actually a little bit newer. My last one, I dropped it and it shattered everywhere. It took so long to clean up. Dropping highlighter on your floor is the worst. So this one's a little bit newer, but I originally tried this palette for the first time a million years ago. Like I still remember the exact video where I was like testing new Flower Beauty makeup or testing the brand for the first time. And I loved this palette so much back then and I still love it. I actually just wore, like I mixed together the lightest shade and the pink shade 2 days ago. It's weird because even though this palette has been around for a long time, like this feels like an updated formula. It's probably the closest formula in my collection to Rare Beauty. Like it's very thin, very silky. I mean, even when you look at it, it looks like Rare Beauty. So if you're looking for a less expensive version of Rare Beauty, this is a nice option. They have 2 different variations. This one's the lighter one, and then they also have a darker one too. The last palette in here is so gorgeous. I don't know if this brand is still sold at Ulta. I haven't heard much about it in the last little while. But this palette comes with 4 different shades. This formula reminds me a little bit more of Cover FX, where it's like slightly thicker. It also kind of reminds me of like the Pretty Smart formula. This is the type of formula that looks really good, both as eyeshadow and as highlighter. All of those shades in these palettes are like the exact same. Like there's like a white pearly tone, there's like a pink one and then a golden one. Since I'm keeping these 2, I think I can pass this one along. Really, really gorgeous, but I don't love, first of all, it's just like a little bit big and bulky for my makeup collection. I don't usually love like super big palettes unless they're eyeshadow palettes, but like how many highlighter palettes do I need to keep? I'm going to keep the other 2 and declutter this one. Okay, so that is the end of my highlighter declutter. I actually feel really good about that. Okay, so here's what my highlighter and bronzer collection looked like before, and here's what it looks like afterwards. So in the end, well, I originally started off with 36 highlighters total, and each palette just kind of counts as one. I kept 22 and I decluttered 14. These are all of the ones I am decluttering, so that's actually almost 40%, which I'm really happy about. I didn't really expect to declutter as many bronzers and highlighters as I did, but I feel like over the last year or 2, like I've definitely nailed down my preferences, and I kept a couple that are maybe a little bit different than what I typically wear. So I have enough whether I want to go with my staple favorites or switch it up a little bit. And it's just like a very nice curated collection. I haven't done my blush declutter yet, but I'm hoping after I do that, I can just fit all of my bronzers, all of my highlighters, and all of my blushes in the same drawer. Blushes have gotten out of hand. Like they're actually spilling out of the drawer they're in just because blush as a whole has completely exploded, and I have really enjoyed blush. So I need to film that declutter. I'm putting that one off a little bit. That will be my next declutter if you're interested in that video. But thanks for watching and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. If you guys like declutter videos, I film these fairly often, like maybe once a month. So I'll link my playlist in the description box below. I'll do blush next, and then maybe after that, I'll do eyeshadow palettes. So stay tuned for those videos, but thanks again for hanging out with me, and I'll see you soon with a new one. Bye.